here we go with the taxes. Trump paid only $750 in taxes, both in 2016 and 2017. That's what they say, okay? In 11 of the 18 years that were examined by the Times, Trump did not pay any income tax to the federal government. In his first year as a president, Trump or his companies paid more taxes to India, 145 grand, Panama, roughly 16 grand, Philippines, 157 grand, than the U.S. Since 2000, he has lost over $315 million at the golf courses that he owns and promotes. Last October, Trump tried to steer the Group of Seven summit. I don't know if you remember that or not. I remember when he said we should do it at the Doral, and people took shots at him.
G7.
Yeah, the G7. I remember that part taking place. And then in 2010, Trump received a $72.9 million tax refund that is being audited by the IRS. He received the sum after claiming heavy losses. But if he loses his appeal with the IRS, he will have to pay over $100 million to the federal government. Anyways, long story short, a lot of things came up about his taxes. Wasn't pretty. First day he came up, he didn't even comment on it. The second day he commented on it, he says it's fake news. So after doing some research, what are your thoughts about what Trump's taxes are looking like? Adam?
Yeah, I mean, any bad news that comes out, it's fake news, right? Oh, it's fake news. Oh, it's fake news. Oh, it's fake news. So my question is, of all that fake news, what's actually the real news? What's actually real? So there's a reason that he's the first president ever not to release his tax returns. And the reason that he didn't want to release his tax returns, it's right here. It's pretty damn ugly. So you can either take it this one of two ways. You could say, well, he's a pretty shrewd businessman. He knows how to use the tax law to his advantages. And
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Or he's actually a horrible businessman, and all he's doing is losing money, losing money, losing money. And here's the next question. Are you comfortable, the 5% of the people watching this who are undecided, because as we know, 90+% of people have already made up their mind.
10% undecided.
10% undecided, 5% green, 5% completely undecided.
No. 42% is going to vote right no matter what.
Yes.
44% is going to vote left no matter what.
88.
That's 86.
86.
42, 44,
42.
4% is green, independent, libertarian.
Okay.
10% is
so
undecided.
10% is
Yes.
undecided.
Yep.
10% is going to be making up their mind
Yep.
tonight. Are you comfortable with your president paying more money in taxes to India, Panama, the Philippines, than he is to the United States? If you're comfortable with it, cool. It's all good. Vote for Trump. But if you're uncomfortable with it, maybe you need to be asking yourself, what's he doing?
Honestly, I was hoping you were going to go deeper than that. Seriously.
No.
I told you this is your show today.
Well, I want to go deeper because I have a question. This is not my wheelhouse.
I haven't even got a chance to even go deeper, but go ahead.
So I want to know in what Asgardian dimension of the universe somebody can get a $72.9 million tax refund.
It's a great question.
How the hell does that happen?
Would you like to know?
I would love to know.
Let me explain to you how that works. You ready?
Yes.
A president named Obama in 2010, 2011, due to a bad economic crisis that we were experiencing, comes out with a tax policy that allows people to go back, because you can typically go back to write off your losses 2 years.
Okay.
So you go back and you write off your losses for 2 years and you can extend it. He decides to go back 4 years, 100%, and the fifth year, 50%. So what does Trump do? He says, great. His incredible accountants come out and they say, let's write off 07, let's write off all of 06, let's write off 05, and let's write off half of 2010, get $70 million of federal, $2.9 million of interest, and another $20 million of state. That's because of the tax law that Obama came up with.
Let me tell you something. I
So
got
why is he
zero
talking so
There you
much
go.
trash about Obama? He
I
should
have
be thanking
zero
Obama.
issue with that.
Yeah.
Like if you're taking advantage of a tax law that's out there, if you don't like it, change the law. But I have no issue with
legal,
this whatsoever.
Right? What you just
It's
said,
legal.
what he did was legal. You know, I would have loved to see the video footage of the CNN executive, or I mean the New York Times executives, high-fiving each other and doing their victory dance when they had this story ready to go. A week before the election in 2016, the Billy Bush tape comes out. Didn't affect them.
Yeah.
I mean, if he can survive that, this is comedy. This is light reading. This is nothing. This is a mosquito on the backside of an elephant. In fact, I thought it was going to be worse.
What could Trump do to lose your vote?
No, I'm not saying it's
I'm
anything,
asking you.
but that's not the
what
question.
Could Trump do? But I'm asking you a different question here, Tom.
I'm saying he's Teflon,
What could Trump
and I don't
do?
think there's any scandal that
So
can
there's
touch
nothing he could do to lose your
But
vote.
I'm not talking about my vote. I'm talking about
But
what could
I'm
actually
asking
affect
you, Tom Zenner, about your
I
vote.
haven't stopped to think about it.
So I'm asking you. You're live on TV right now. What could Trump do to lose
Ask
your
me.
vote?
Ask me.
Let me ask Tom first,
Okay.
and then I'll go to you.
What can he do?
Yeah, anything.
Man,
It's actually very easy.
Yeah.
If you think about it, it's very easy.
There's
think
nothing
about,
he could do to
no,
lose your vote?
He could. I guarantee you he could. What could he do to lose your vote? I guarantee you he could lose his vote.
drop out of the race? I don't know.
So there's nothing he can do.
No. Well, you got to unpack the question.
Yeah.
Okay, if Biden and Trump both, if Biden's capital gains taxes is going to be at 25%, and Trump's is going to go to 30%, he loses my vote. Very simple.
Because you're going through an exit right now.
Not about, but okay, if he raises federal taxes and Biden's not, he's going to lose the vote. If he decides to not strengthen the military to protect us and invest money into cyber and biowarfare, he's going to lose my vote. If he comes out and next thing I know, he's befriending China and becoming very good friends with China and he's becoming very good friends with Iran, he's going to lose my vote. He could easily lose my vote. This is not like, oh my gosh, it takes very little for me to walk into a room and be enamored by personality. This is not about, this is a person that's chosen to be a president. I respect the seat tremendously, whether Obama or him. I sit there sometimes and I watch Obama's interviews because I enjoyed watching Obama's interviews. I enjoy watching the old interviews of Bill Clinton. I enjoy it. I enjoy watching George Bush's interviews sometimes. He could do things to lose my vote. He could. Now, there are people that are blindly following this guy, and they're just because it's Republican going down. I'm not part of that camp. You have to be coming out with the right plans. The fact that Biden is too friendly to China concerns me. The fact that Biden's camp is the one that came out with $150 billion for Iran, that concerns me. The fact that he's been doing this for 47 years and still saying he can change America and he hasn't been able to do it for 47 years, that concerns me. The fact that he can be bought concerns me. These things concern me. The fact that Hunter Biden gets money concerns me. Those things concern me.
The fact that he is not for your Second Amendment rights concerns me. That is the first thing that I look at in any presidential candidate. That's
the first thing?
Number one, because you can't have 1A without 2A. And so if you're talking shit about my guns, you're out.
So hold on, Jerah. So you know what the first for me? The First Amendment. The First Amendment.
Yeah.
And then the Second Amendment, maybe other amendments. But the First Amendment's first.
Well, I don't think the Second Amendment is as important to you as you think it is because you ain't even strapped yet.
Hey, you know what?
Basically, come talk to you when I have a gun.
I also don't think it's only about voting for Trump or supporting Trump. There's a lot of people that are fearful what's going to happen, in their opinion, if Biden becomes president. Rioting in cities, taxes going up. Those are things that affect people. So
like
it's
the
not so
rioting
much
in
you're
cities that are
pro-Trump.
already going on.
Well, yeah, but that's not because
Supported and promoted by who?
Democratically run city.
Supported and promoted by who?
Why that's happening?
But what are they protesting against?
Oh, so I should vote for Biden so the protesting and the rioting will stop.
All I'm saying
is,
it's
what a
very
brilliant
easy
thing.
for Trump to come out there and say, welcome to Joe Biden's America. This is happening in Trump's America.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Adam,
It's
I'm
not some
sure-
make-believe world.
I'm sure
We're in
you've-
Trump's America right now.
I'm sure you've thought about this. To ask the question the other way, what would it take for Trump to get your vote?
Okay, good
Ooh.
question. I was waiting for that question.
Okay.
Thank you. If Biden actually does have dementia and it's not fake news, you can't vote for someone who's clearly out of their mind. So that's why I think tonight is so important for him to step up and say, you guys are talking trash that I've lost my mind. Just like Trump, I just beat 16 other candidates and I became the nominee. Did I not?
So coming out of this, you could still have your vote. If
I'm
Biden
never
doesn't perform well tonight,
I
is
am
what
not
you're
one of
saying.
those. To put it the other way, I'm not one of those Trump loyalists who, no matter what he does, he's getting my vote. My vote, as Pat alluded to. I'd vote for anyone if they have the correct policies, the correct demeanor. If I thought that they'd be the best candidate for America. In 2016, I would have voted for John Kasich, who's a Republican governor of Ohio who finished second in the Republican platform. Did he not? So I'm not one of those blind followers of anybody.
I get it. I get it.
Of
But what
anybody.
would it take? I mean, let's face it. We can't diagnose a guy's mental state,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, he can fumble. He can talk odd, whatever the case is. I mean, he's a little bit older. So we're not going to be able to say he has dementia. So that's not really a solid answer. What could happen that Trump can win your vote? So you're just saying performance-wise. If he doesn't perform well tonight...
what do you mean? How do you not know if someone has dementia? He's going to go to a doctor. He's going to get medical records.
Oh,
clearly.
you're talking about... Okay, so you're not talking
about... What do you mean? I'm not going by my eyes.
But
clearly, if the guy has dementia...
Stop, Adam.
And it's scary.
Because you think it's going to come out saying he's got dementia. Let me give you some ammunition. Can I help you out?
If you're the DNC,
let me give you some data.
If the guy has dementia, you can't allow the guy to run.
Let me give you what angle this opposing argument should be here. Here's the data.
Sure.
Let me help you out. Okay, Biden's and Kamala's tax returns came out. Okay? Biden's tax return, they just released it right now to do it right before the debate, which is perfect timing. Brilliant move. Good job. So Biden's return shows that he and his wife Jill made $944,000 of taxable income last year and paid $299,000 at a 31% tax rate. Good for them.
Taxation is theft.
Yeah. They paid a third of their money in taxes. Okay? Now, Kamala's numbers came out, and herself and her husband, attorney Doug Emhoff, reported $3,018,000 in taxable income. Kudos to her. She's a multimillionaire. And the majority of it via Emhoff's partnership at global law firm DLA Piper. They paid federal income tax of $1,185,000 at a 39% tax rate. Biden gave away $14,700 in charitable contributions. That's 1.5% of his income, which means he's not really a charitable guy. He just would like other people to pay taxes, but he's not really a charitable guy. And Kamala paid $35,000 in charitable donations, which is 1.1% of her income. So neither one of them are big on charity, okay? These guys pay taxes. Trump paid $750 in those 2 years. What do you say to this?
That's not what's going to get my vote or not, whether they paid their taxes.
But in the topic of taxes, so you...
Oh, we're talking specifically taxes?
In the area of taxes.
Rapattoni asked me what would it take for me not to vote for Biden. I mean, the fact that he paid his taxes, I'm not going to applaud him.
So this is a non-issue for you that Trump paid only $750 in a year.
That's a huge issue, but that's not as big of an issue. The fact that Biden or Kamala paid their taxes, what do you want me to applaud you? You paid your freaking taxes.
The fact that they paid 30%,
of the
which is way more than, say, he paid.
On the list of the reasons that I would not vote for Trump,
that's
what
not
he did
at the top.
Shady tax-wise
Fair enough.
Is not on the list.
Okay, that's good to know. So then let me
just saying.
Okay, let me give you a handful of points
I
here.
actually applaud Trump for doing what he had to do to maneuver the tax code.
I'm going to give my handful of points. You guys have gone. I've heard you out. I'm going to give you my points on what I think about these tax issues, okay? And I'm looking at it from a handful of different point of views. Trump's getting backlash on this. A part of it he deserves. Let me explain why. Here's why. When you go out there and you tweet the following tweets, I'll give you 5 of his tweets, okay? One of his tweets was a picture of him with his tax return saying, signing a recent tax return, isn't this ridiculous? With a tax return this big, okay? And that picture was taken and went viral, great. Saying, oh my gosh, I pay so much taxes, fine. Then he sent another tweet saying the Washington Post loses money and gives owner Jeff Bezos power to screw public on low taxation of Amazon, big tax shelter. He's calling out Bezos and Amazon and the Washington Post on what? Not paying a lot of taxes. Then he tweets out saying, have we ever had a president of the United States before Barack Obama who earned over a third of his income from foreign sources and paid taxes to another country? That's another tweet he sent out calling out Barack Obama. Another tweet he sent out was Barack Obama, who wants to raise all of our taxes, only pays 20.5% on $790 salary. Do as I say, not as I do. That's another tweet. And then he's got another one that says, half of Americans don't pay income taxes despite crippling government debt, February 23rd, 2012. So these are his tweets. So on one end, if you're gonna say this stuff, you just have to be ready. If you tell me mama jokes, I'm gonna tell you mama jokes. If you say stuff about my wife, you better ready, I'm coming after your wife. If you talk shit about my kids, it's going down. So that part I have no problem with. All the shit talking going on both sides, I'm very comfortable with that. But I'm gonna tell you a couple different things. You know who got the biggest ad and endorsement in America in the last 72 hours? Trump's accounting firm. Trump's accounting firm right now is getting nonstop calls. You know why? Because if you're that good at getting me to pay this kind of taxes, I want you as my accountant. That's simple. I've never met anybody that wants to pay more taxes. In my entire life, I have never met anybody that wants to pay more taxes. If Kamala and Biden are so much about giving, they should give more than 1.5% or 1.1% in charity. They should give more. So number one, their accounting firm, more power to you. Number two, they say Trump is a bad businessman. You hear a lot of people saying, oh, Trump is a bad businessman, Trump is a bad businessman, Trump is a bad businessman. Everything about capitalism and a tax system is set up to incentivize who? Entrepreneurs. Why? Because you take the risk, you take the loss, you put up the money.
And you create the jobs.
You create the jobs. You work 80 hours a week. You're under the stress. When people quit and they go to another job, you have to go find that person. When people are no longer, company filing bankruptcy, it goes on your record. Everything is on you, so the system has to be set up to benefit who? Entrepreneurs more. Hey, if you want to pay the lower taxes, go create a job. But Kamala and Biden don't want to do it. It's no problem. But you have the choice. That's how America's set up. The other one is when they're talking about the fact that, how the New York Times get their hands on the IRS. Let me tell you this angle. This angle concerns me probably the most out of all of them. This is my biggest concern when I think about the New York Times. So what's your source? We can't tell you. Really? Huh. So who's the only person that could have given you this?
IRS?
Local county IRS or IRS. All right.
An insider in Trump's
It's not going to be an insider. I don't know about that. It's going to be an insider on the IRS side. So why are you leaking this to New York Times? So now my concern then becomes which political party has influence over the IRS, the right or the left? Does the left control the IRS? Because don't forget, under Obama's administration, a lot of these 501c3 plans that were coming out that were on the right wouldn't get approved. It would take them 2, 3, 4, 5 years to get approved. Took a long time to create these charities. I don't know if you remember that. It was very difficult for these charities to get approval, right? So what's going on with the IRS? Well, why is this information being given out? And is that problematic for me? My answer, no. Why? Very simple. What WikiLeaks did during the Hillary Clinton campaign, now these guys are doing. The difference is we knew who was WikiLeaks. We don't know who's the agent coming out with the IRS. We don't know who the whistleblowers. That concerns me. Why? Because they can do that to anybody. Anybody. They can do that to you, to you, to you. You say one wrong thing, if they wanted to, they can come after you. We're talking about all this stuff, and stuff is going around the world that nobody knows about, and we forget about how amazing America is. Check this out. An American is facing 2 years in prison after leaving a bad TripAdvisor review for a Thailand resort. Let me say this one more time. An American is facing 2 years in prison after leaving a bad TripAdvisor review for a Thailand resort. Here's the review. Unfriendly staff. No one ever smiles. They act like they don't want anyone here. The restaurant manager was the worst. He is from Czech Republic. He's extremely rude and impolite to guests. Find another place. There are plenty of places with nicer staff that are happy or are staying with them. He comments. Then in another review, he says, modern day slavery is what he posts. And then he takes it down. So what do? We chose to file a complaint to serve a deterrent, and we understand continue to write a negative review week after week after the foreseeable future. Thailand has strict anti-defamation laws, which can lead to lengthy prison sentences or fines. A defamation application conviction can lead to 2 years of prison sentence, $6,300 fine. This guy's facing 2 years of prison.
Okay, well, I applaud it. First time an internet troll has actually been punished. All right, so that's good. Number two, what happens if you steal a towel? Right? Could you imagine you take a robe, you take a towel, what they're going to do to you in Thailand? And third, you better know the laws of where you're traveling.
Yeah.
Especially a place like Thailand. You go there, you think anything goes, right? It's a pretty loose society, but man, you start doing something like that, you have no idea the repercussions. So
the biggest thing I'm saying is, man, how lucky we are to live in America where you can say whatever you want to say. The moment you lose that, you're talking about freedom of speech and you're talking about guns, the moment you lose those two things, man, it's a scary place.